Hi, I got a chance to play recently Steamopolis, which is a steampunk city game where you're trying to fly your airship from different districts and different levels of this huge enormous city in order to give speeches for your campaign, gain the support of the people living there and become the next mayor in the city. You will be doing that by gaining votes, which are the victory points in this game, throughout various sources, among those being upgrading your engine, putting flying colors and banners on your airship so that it shows your prestige, etc. And essentially by effectively building up the way that you can handle, build up pressure and fly to the higher tier and higher level districts which require more steam for your machine to fly higher and go and perform different actions. The game, at its core, it's a worker placement game with a lot of options, a very unique and I would say thematic that makes sense, a way of building pressure and releasing it in the machines below your deck in order to activate additional things and gain additional benefits. But also it has a lot of cool things and ideas. The machines can either be added as added machines in your portfolio on your flying airship, or as flying colors at the back of your airship with different banners and colors, and giving you different ways to win victory points. There are a lot of cool things to like in this game. It has a very robust Eurogame feel to it, but it offers also together a different perspective on the worker placement, because you have to combine with different things. It's an easy to get behind game, but it has a lot of depth and a lot of options once you get to know how to explore them. So I would say that the production of the game is also very nice. It has very good aesthetics and visuals on the table. It really brings out the theme of the game. So join me at the table. I'll show you how the game works. I'll describe all the rules to you and explain everything that you need to know in order to play Steamopolis, so that you get to know the game a bit better. And like always, we'll come back at the end of this video for a wrap-up from my impressions from the first experience and first sessions that I had playing Steamopolis. So let's see how it plays. Hi, welcome to this video for Steamopolis. Steamopolis is a worker placement Euro game with lots of beautiful components, very unique steam build-up mechanism that we use it to power our steam airships in order to fly all the way from the bottom, from the lower level of the city to the higher levels and gain additional benefits. Players are trying to win victory points on this victory point track that goes around the top of the city, and the city is consisted of different levels of level 1, level 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8 all the way up, with increased benefits as you move further up. You will be traveling with your steam airship from one level to the other, grasping the benefits and gaining the benefits, gaining machines to add to your steam ship in order to make it even stronger and more efficient, and then potentially getting banners to add them at the back of your airship in order to gain victory points as well. It's a very unique and interesting game. Has a lot of things going on, but it's very thematic in the way that it works. The steam that is built up here powers the machines and the ability of the airship to go higher or lower depending on the amount of steam used, and it uses a very sufficient and robust mechanism that blends well with the gameplay. So the city of Steamopolis is gearing up for the election, and you think you have what it takes for the next position of being the mayor of the city. Now you just have to convince the citizens that you're the best candidate, and if the city of gears, steam and airships has something to admire, that is a gifted engineer. Take it to the air, equip your ship and impress everybody with your machines, your colorful banners, to show to everyone that you have what it takes to be the new mayor of Steamopolis. You see in front of you the game board. I had to put it sideways due to the huge size of the board. You see my hand, and I'm quite a tall guy, so you can see that it's a very big map with a lot of colors and a lot of interesting art and sections. Same goes for the player boards. So I'll teach you how to play the multiplayer game. Be aware that there are rules for solo as well, with a lot of interesting tweaks there. And let's start by familiarizing ourselves with the components of the game. What you see in front of you is the main board, sideways. Had to be sideways, it's a huge board, at least from me to fit everything on a 16:9 ratio for my screen in order to shoot this video. But keep that in mind that this will be vertical next to your player area when you play the game. You have 4 player boards, which are the airships, which are this and that, without the characters that have been slotted already. Then you have, of course, some starting machines. We start with one already, and we also have some basic machines there. We also start with 1 and 1 from each, same goes for each player. We have the components belonging to the color of the player. This is used for tracking victory points as we move further up. I suppose it is thematic, but I would have prepared something smaller, to be honest, because it's a bit crowded, the VP track. But in any case, maybe you can point, keep the base on the correct amount of victory points, and that should make it work as you move further up. So these are the VP points going around all the way to 65. This is a start player token. You have various characters. You're going to be using only one with some special abilities in each of your games, and there's a good variety of characters with different abilities. The game rulebook suggests to start with those from 5 all the way to 11, so I have picked up 11 and 9 for this demonstration. I have set up the game for 4 players. I'm only showing you 2 player boards. We also have 5 sponsor tiles which go all there. We make a stack. We have the respective fundraiser tiles, 4 and 4 from each of the types, that these go on the specific areas. Think of them as upgrades for discounts, etc. We're going to explain them later on. We start with 0 victory points. Then we set up the passenger figurines, which they are pre-printed. The orange goes there and the blue goes there. Throughout the game, among other things, while we fly from one district to the other, we're going to be trying to delivering the top. Let me show you one that I have next to me. The top tile, the blue passenger, which is an investor, and the orange passenger, which is a mechanic, to their destination. The primary destination is 3 and 5 respectively, and if this is already where they start from, they have a secondary destination. And gaining, in the first case, victory points, and in the second case, when we deliver the mechanic, steam, building up steam. We'll come back to this later on. But this is where they start from. Next we have, of course, the various booster tokens that we're placing them as you see indicated here, as described on the setup page of the rulebook. 5, 4, 3 and 2. You have to keep in mind that in the last section on the whole, let's say, edge column of the city, we place those statues, and this is because once they are recovered from each player, they place it here, and this is one of the ways to end the game. Once the third statue has been placed, the player scores 3 victory points for the third, and then this triggers the end of the game, which means one more round with all 3 actions available to the players, and then we finish the game for counting victory points. But under this, that, there are all statues all the way from the bottom to the top, which are acquired by the players once they recover buy the last banner in the upper levels, or buy the last booster token from the level 1 at the bottom. We also have various personal components for the players. We have those Steam tokens. We start with 3 on the first 3 slots. On the Steam track over here, we're going to come back and explain the Steam track. Our base Steam is indicated by this one. It can go all the way up to 4. It starts on the starting space, but keep in mind that it's like a starting point, so if it's there, you cannot drop below there. It can go all the way up to 4. That means that you can have a very efficient Steam production if you have managed to increase your base steam all the way there. We'll come back to this in a later. We have 3 spy boats that we place on our 3 spots here just for holding purposes. Then the character that we have from setup, we place it there, giving us the ability described on in the rulebook. And then we also have 2 additional Steam tokens that are next to our board, not available for the moment. And these are the components of each player. Keep in mind that the game comes with 2 resources as well. We have gears that we need to acquire and pay, respectively, for different things, buying machines, etc. And crystals as well. The location for storing things on our player boards are these crate icons that we may have increased if we add more machines, including storage areas like this one. But we can never have more storage, more resources stored than the locations on our player board. For example, at this setup, this has 1, 2, 3, 4 starting the game, and it has also 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Steam increase icons when I use the Steam build-up action, which we're going to come back and explain in a bit. But that's that for now. These are all the components that you need to know. The last thing that we do at setup is we put the resources there. We put a pile of the passengers with the first one face up. We don't need all those, we just have selected the character. And we build up the banners. We do so, but if you, maybe it's far from your visual, but if you zoom in on the video, you'll see that this row, the first row, has 0. And you can see the 0 at the back of the tile, so it also connects to the upper part of the 0. So all these are face up on the first of the 4 last sections. Then on the second one, we have level 1 machines / banners that they cover some icons. Level 2 that they go in the third, and level 3 that they go on the last. So all the last column is covering a statue, and it is a level 3 banner / machine. I'm saying banner / machine because, as you can see, the tiles have dual purpose. From this side they are machines that you can add to your player area for efficient improvement of your engine building, or you can have them as banners that you add at the back of your player board, indicating ways that you win victory points down the road and increasing your prestige. They're also a tiebreaker in case of a tie at the end of the game. These level 1 tiles, they all start face up on the first lot, and level 0, sorry, the level 0 ones start all face up, as you can see, from the machine tile facing up. The level 1, 2 and 3 start face down, but they will be flipped once this is recovered. So it's time we take the one on the left. We have to uncover the one following it in a sequence in the row. So what is a game overview? In player order, each player will take 1 action on their turn, and your goal is to gain the most victory points so that you can prove yourself that you are the person to become the mayor of Steamopolis. Votes are represented by victory points, and they have the icon of this one. This is a gear with this icon indicating victory points. You earn votes by / victory points is the same, essentially, by doing things that impress the citizens of Steamopolis. And the way to win victory points in the game, or votes, is by visiting certain levels of the city, which provide victory points, as you would see, and we'll explain later on. Then you can also gain victory points by transporting the investor passenger, which is the blue one. Remember, the orange one is the mechanic and provides steam. The blue one provides victory points. By installing certain machines into your airship, it gives you victory points. We'll see them later on. By hanging banners from your airship at the back of your airship, so that this provides you opportunities for scoring different ways victory points. And by activating certain machine effects as well. On your turn, you can either do one of the 3. And that's one of the beautiful things of the game. This is very fast, which has actually a low downtime, and you play real fast because you do only one thing. You either increase the steam pressure in your airship in order to reach higher levels of Steamopolis. You need higher amount of pressure in order to go higher. You either place a steam token on a mark to reserve a city level as your destination. You need to have a destination so that you will be able to reach it if you take the next option, which is the next option is begin your flight to fly towards your destination levels in the order of your choosing and visit them all. Meaning the third option that I have is, once I have already built Steam and I have already, from previous actions, and I have already placed the destinations for my flight plan, one of the options that I can have as a future turn is to do the flight plan, execute it, and visit all these locations in the order of my preference as soon as I start my action. Only after you have begun your flight you can utilize the effects of your city levels, so think twice before departing that you have what it takes to get the most out of it. As you gain votes and victory points, you move your vote token forwards on the victory point track as I showed you here. So, quick brief about the game setup. First, we place the board in the middle of the table, the side of the number of players facing facing us. So it can either be respectively for 4 players, and you can see it from the 4 airships here, 1, 2, 3, 4, or for 2 or 3 players and solo from the back side of the board. You place a statue tile on the statue space of the right side of the level. So under each of those tiles, level 3 tiles I remind you, you see that you have a statue. This goes for the whole column at the edge of the board. Okay? Once you've done that, all the statues are the same, so don't worry, that doesn't matter. Once you have placed all these, then you place all the regular machine tiles on the number banner, on the table banner, side up, so we don't see what it is, they're all showing the banner side. Then we mix them and we randomly draw and place the appropriate tiles on each market space, making sure to match the rank of the tile to the rank of the market space, indicated at the corner of the banner side of the tile that lines up with the markings above each market space. So see, this says tile 1 and above it has a tile 1, so there's no way you can mix it, even though generally this is the row with zeros, the second is a row with 1s, the third is a row with 2s, and the fourth is a row with 3s. Once you have done that, once all market spaces have been filled, you return the rest of the machine tokens to the box and you're ready. A rank 0 machine is placed with the machine side face up, so this is the zeros are the only ones that are placed face up. Either they start here, or we have also 1, 2, 3 more zeros that they start on the 4 player game. We have 4 more additional zeros to boost the start of the game. We place the booster tokens on the spaces on level 1, starting with the 5s and ending up with the 2s under each of the column, 5, 5, 4, 4, 3, 3, 2, 2, and the 2s are overlapping with the statue. The same goes with the tiles with rank 3. As I've showed you, they overlap and they cover one of the statues, making it available once this is recovered, this is bought, and this is bought, then the statue is available. And I remind you, when I have 3 statues is one of the ways to end the game, to trigger the end of the game. We place the investor, passenger and the mechanic on the respective starting locations. We shuffle the passenger tiles and stack them face down in their space of the bottom of the board over here, turning the top tile face up. We place all the resources, crystals and gears in the respective boxes. And we place the fundraiser and sponsor tiles on the respective sections here. Each player now performs the following steps. Randomly you draw a character that you already place in the slot of the driving slot of your airship. You return the remaining characters in the back of the box, inside the box. So then you take the airship player board and place it in front of you. You choose a player color and take all the pieces. You have 5 Steam tokens, you start with 3 on the first 3 locations and 2 are at the side, available for you to take. 1 VP token that is starting at 0 VPs. Then you place 2 Steam tokens outside of your pool, you only have 3. And you place the 3 spy bots as I indicated here. Your base gauge of pressure marker, the base pressure that you have value is indicated by this one. So that means that you are ready to start. The last thing that you do, and I mentioned it before just to remind you, is you draw 1 starting machine tile and 1 basic machine tile from the supply and you place them on any two spaces of your engine. So you can put it wherever you want, not necessarily the first two, but the game recommends for your first game to put them at all the way on the left. You resolve the effects of your character tile from top to bottom, and this is explained in there. So for example, for me as a startup, what I do is I would increase my base value of base pressure by 1. This is one of my of the things. Or you see Oscar here has a lot of things that he can gain, to pressure and additional gears, etc. We're going to explain the icons later on. So this is how the game looks like, and this is the setup ready for the player. Your first 3 available Steam tokens, they start with the arrow pointing down on the first 3 available slots of your Steam track. Gameplay. You build your Steam pressure, you set a flight plan and navigate your airship to the city levels that will benefit you most. Steamopolis is played over multiple rounds, during each of which all players will take a single turn. The start player begins the first round, and during your turn you must take one and only one out of 3 options. Option number 1, you can either build pressure. Option number 2, you can either set flight plan. And option number 3, you can either visit the city. The game ends when either the third statue has been built by emptying 3 markets, or when the passenger tile stack is empty. When either of these happens, you play the current round to completion so that players have an equal number of turns, and then you proceed to final scoring. So let's have a brief overview of the 3 options: build pressure, set flight plan, and visit the city. The build pressure is linked with these icons, the Steam icons that you have. Basically, this action increases the pressure in your boilers by moving one of your Steam tokens up on your Steam pressure track. We'll explain how this is done in a sec. The set a flight plan token option, this action allows you to set a city district space on a board as a flight destination. You'll do this by placing a Steam token from your pressure track on the city district space to reserve it. The Steam token must be of a pressure level equal or greater than the city level being visited. So if I start with a pressure, if my pressure is, for example, this one, I cannot, let's say I'm like that in the game, I cannot visit a level 6, 7 or 8 level of the city, because I don't have enough pressure to fly. We're going to explain this in a sec in more detail. And the last option, visit the city, complete your flight plan. This action will allow you to visit all of the city previous district space that you have reserved with Steam tokens in the order of your choosing. Now, let's see a couple of words for each of the actions. Build pressure. Increase the Steam pressure in your airship. More pressure means more options, and it's also a good choice when waiting for an occupied city district to become available again by people removing their tokens from there, by visiting them. Taking this action allows you to increase your pressure by the amount of Steam symbols shown on your player board and on machines. We'll see the pressure by, let's say, X amount in a bit, but count the 2 symbols printed on your board. You start with 2 pressure already built, plus any ones that you have on your machines. Then you will be able to increase the pressure by that amount. So my amount of pressure from the things that build up pressure in the machine area is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So when I take the build pressure, I can, it allows me to increase my pressure by that amount of Steam symbols. We'll explain how this is done in a sec. But after I will increase my pressure, my turn will be over, and it's the next player's turn on the left to begin their turn. I may not take the build pressure action if I have no Steam tokens on the pressure track, so I have none of the cylinders here, or the Steam tokens on my track are all the way up to the right. So if I'm in a scenario like that, I'm already on the maximum Steam I can have on my airship, and there is no way to build pressure again until I use it first. So when I increase my pressure by 5, because we've seen 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in my case, it could be another number depending on your setup and if you build more machines. You increase your pressure by 1 by moving a single steam token of your choice to the next unoccupied space on your pressure track. When increasing pressure by more than 1, the same steam token may be chosen and moved multiple times. Booster tokens on your track, which are those, may not be moved. And when moving a steam token, you choose any token on your track, pick it up and place it on the next available empty pressure track to the right, pressure track space to the right. This may result in a token moving multiple spaces when spaces immediately to the right are already occupied, so jumping over essentially, including booster tokens. When you must use your full pressure, increase value if you're able. If you have more steam tokens that can be moved, any remaining pressure that is not been used because you cannot move any further is lost, although it hisses very nicely. And when increasing pressure, never flip the steam tokens to the opposite side. So we don't flip them to the arrow, we always use them the same side. I will tell you when this is done. So an example of building pressure. Let's say we have this scenario, 7, 4 and 3. Okay, so let's say here that I can build pressure of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So let's say I would say I'm like that. Okay, this is my starting setup. So I have 5 steps to build pressure, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I can do 1, then 2 to move this and jump over, yeah, then 3, and then 4. You see, this is the most efficient way to use the minimum needed pressures. I used only 4 and I still have 1 that I can release in my engines below to gain benefits and rewards, etc. So I make the best out of my building pressure. So this was an example of building pressure. We'll come back to what happens when you have excess of pressure like this one and you need to release it and give it to the machines to gain additional benefits. Okay, so for the benefit of this example, let's leave it like that. Now, the second option is to set a flight plan. Release steam through your machines, which is optional. So when you take the action to set a flight plan, you can decide to release steam as an option. You reserve a city district by a steam token and you store resources. So when taking this action, you will choose a reserve a city district to visit. This is done by taking a steam token from your pressure track and placing it on the city district that you wish to reserve. The chosen city must be on the city level equal or lower than the pressure value of the steam token used. So if I take this 4 steam token, I can go either to level 4 or below. Okay? Going higher requires more steam, as you would imagine, and if the level you wish to reserve is lower than the pressure value of your steam token, you may choose to divert the excess steam through your machine rooms, lowering this pressure value and activating machine effects before placing it on the board. We'll see how this happens in a bit. Also, the chosen city must not be currently reserved by any other player, so I cannot go to the city district that is being reserved by other player. Just to make sure you understand which are the areas that I can visit are these blue locations. So if blue is already there, okay, I cannot go on this location myself. Okay, I can go to all that, or the rest, but I cannot go to the same reserved district, okay, of the city. And also, a city may only be reserved by one player at a time. The voters don't want to hear more than one campaign speech a day, which makes sense. And including your own token, so you can not even go in if you have already blocked a space for yourself in this section, in this district. And you must reserve exactly one city district when you take this action. If no city districts are available for you to reserve with the steam that you have in your possession, you cannot take this action in order to just simply release Steam and activate your machines. After placing your Steam token in the city, you proceed to store resources. Because essentially you will be gaining resources from the worker placement on the districts. So let's come back to using the Steam in the machines, okay? So if you would choose to place your Steam token on a city level lower than the token's pressure value, like for example I want to go to level 3 and I'm using the level 4 here. If you choose to do so, you may first direct the excess Steam to your engine rooms to activate your machines below. You are not required to do this in order to place on a lower level city, but if you choose to place on a lower city level, then your token's pressure value, the excess Steam, has no effect. To activate machines, move your chosen Steam token from its space on the pressure track downwards along the pipe with the arrows that you will see on the player boards if you look carefully. And you move it on the pressure track downwards along the pipe marked with an arrow on the bottom left, on the bottom right. So basically, sorry, bottom left. The arrow is on, there is a split between each of those areas. So if I want to use let's say use a machine that it's, let's say it was like that, I want to visit a level 3 city. So what I do is I can go here to release pressure, power my machines, and then go up. Basically I don't go up, I never go up. What I do is I go down, activate my machine, follow on the left, activate the machine that is available there, and then I can fly to a level 3 area, because this is linked with a level 3. Okay, this is the rule of how we release excess pressure, and we may need to do it in a targeted way, because as you would imagine, we will activate additional benefits gaining more pressure, or these are the starting tokens, but you can imagine that if you have, let's say, more, if I had this one here, I would also gain 1 crystal, etc. So you gain resources and you gain different benefits. So again, to show you, if I wanted to visit a level 2 city and I have excess, a level 3 city and I have excess, I have 4 Steam, so I move it down, I activate this, I gain the benefits of that. Then I can either decide to move it to the left to continue releasing pressure and gain additional benefits, or instead of moving further to the left, stop and go to the level pointing upwards, meaning I can go to a level 3 respectively district. So each time you may choose to either reserve a city or activate another machine on the left. You continue to move your token down to the next engine room space through the pipe on the left of the current space, and the machines there will be activated and may give you the options to have additional benefits. Okay? Important note, you cannot keep reducing the pressure so that you end up on a level that you cannot go and fly to, because at the end, after you reduce your pressure and you activate machines, you need to be able to be at a level, at a Steam level, so that you will be able to visit a location. If you're not allowed to do that, you cannot be moving your Steam to the left to activate additional Steam machines. The next thing is storing resources. Some machines produce resources, gears and crystals when activated. At the end of your turn, all resources you wish to keep must be stored on a storage bin space, which is this crate here on your player board. Each storage bin can hold only 1 resource. You may choose to replace existing stored resources with newly gained ones if desired, and any resources that do not have a storage bin space are lost after the end of your turn. Return to the supply. This resource limit only applies at the end of the turn when taking the set flight action. During the turn you may gain more resources than you have storage for them, but you can use them to pay other activation costs for other machines further down the engine room, etc. And when you finish your turn, what you are left you need to store, otherwise the excess you lose. The third action is to visit the city. We finish with the second action, which is the second option, which is set a flight plan, and the third one is to visit a city. Now, let's see how this is done. When taking this action, you will fly. Let's say I have reserved some locations, okay, and I decide to visit the city, okay. So when taking this action, you will fly to all of your reserved city districts in any order you choose. You may also transport passengers for additional rewards. It is not required that you have placed all of your Steam tokens on the board in order to take this action. You may have done only one or two, okay? And maybe it's a wise thing to do, especially at the beginning. How do you execute this? You choose one of your reserved district spaces to start from and take the following steps in this order. You return the Steam token, you pick up or deliver passengers, you activate the district space or shop in the market to buy additional machines or banners, and then you store resources. After completing each of these steps, you choose another reserved district, if you still have markers on the board, and you follow the same sequence. Return the Steam token, pick up or deliver passengers, activate the district space or shop in the market, and store resources. Continue this way until you have no more Steam tokens on the city board, and you must activate all reserved districts. You cannot decide to keep one blocked for future rounds. If you take the fly to the city action, you have to resolve all of them and end the turn with none reserved tokens on the board. The Steam token district and city level you are currently choosing to activate will be referred as the active district level for explanation of rules purposes. Once all tokens have been returned to your play area, to your airship, because we return them from here, we'll see how this is done on your Steam track. Then, if you transported any passenger, you will receive the passenger rewards at the end of the turn, and then you end your turn. So, let's see the sequence. Return the Steam token, pick up, deliver passengers, activate the district or shop in the market, and store resources. Start with the return the Steam token. You return the active Steam token to your pressure track. You place it on the first unoccupied pressure track right of your base pressure. That means that if I return this one, I take it from here, I would return it here. If my base pressure was here, I would take it from my reserved destination and return it to the first available here. If for any reason that was like that, of course I would return it here. Okay? So when returning the Steam token to your pressure track, make sure not to flip the token. So if it's not pointing, showing the arrow, keep it as such. You must always return all your Steam tokens to the pressure track when you take the fly to the city action. The next that you check each time you return one is, let's say for example, I was here, okay? And on this level we have the mechanic passenger. I return it to the first available, as I've done before, and then I check if I can do a passenger pickup and delivery. When visiting each district, you may either pick up passengers from the place you are, or deliver passengers to the active city level. For this reason, the passengers will show their appreciation and reward you accordingly. The blue investor gives you victory points, votes for your campaign, and the orange passenger gives you extra Steam pressure for using to build more pressure in your engine. Let me just show you now one of the passenger tiles so you get the anatomy. Each tile, either for the investor or for the mechanic, has two numbers in the middle. Those are the primary destination, the big number, and the small number, which is the secondary destination. The face-up passenger tile on the board shows which levels the two passengers want to travel to. The passenger investor passenger always travels between the top 4 levels, between 5 and 8, and the mechanic always travels between the top lower levels, between 1 and 4. The secondary destination, the passengers are always traveling and never remain in one place. If a passenger is already on its primary destination, so if for example I was picking a passenger, the blue passenger from let's say from 5, which is its primary, okay? So let's say he was here, moved before, and it has reserved an area here, so I'm moving it here and I'm picking the passenger from 5. Since he's already on the primary location, I ignore it and use the secondary destination. So I want to move him to 6. Okay. This is the reward for the blue investor. This is the reward for the orange mechanic. So how the passenger pickup is done? You may pick up a passenger whose figure is located on the active city level where you are. Place it on one of your airship passenger spaces. So you will take him. Let's say I picked up this one from here and place him on my passenger place, a spot here. I have 2 spots there, as you can see. You must, however, transport and deliver the passenger to the destination this same turn. This is very important. You are only allowed to pick up a passenger if you are able to deliver the passenger to its destination this turn. In other words, you must still have a Steam token located on the passenger's destination level. So in order for me to pick up this one who wants to go, I pick him from 5, so he wants to go to 6, his secondary choice. So he wants to go to 6. So when I pick him up, I need to have a token on 6. So I can only do that if I am picking him up from here, but I already have another token on level 6. Because I will activate first this one, remove it, put it back, take the passenger, do the action, and then I will be able on subsequent turn to deliver him here because I have a one more remaining token there to also do the action. You may transport both passengers, but each passenger may only be transported once per turn. And the passenger delivery. If you have passenger on your airship, you must deliver them to the first time you visit the destination level. So make sure you select the order of your tokens retrieval for city flying purposes correctly. You place the passenger figure onto the active city level. You take the face up passenger tile on the top of the stack and place it in front of you face up. So you take this face up in front of you because you have fulfilled this. And there are some banners that award you victory points for the more let's say passengers you have delivered and you have in your area there to indicate such. Keep in mind you do not take the rewards when delivering passengers. You receive the passenger rewards at the end of your turn because you may be delivering also the orange one. Okay, so you need to do it with the same tile. The second tile goes for the next player's turn for availability purposes. Now, activating districts and shops in the market. What happens when I picked my marker from here, got the ability to do the flying picking up, for example, or whatever, and then I see what I do from the location that I picked this up, either here or here. Okay, it was my marker. As you visit each reserved city district, you will take one of the following actions. Activate the active city district, purchase from the active city level market, or choose to do nothing. The market on the city level 1 allows you to purchase as many booster tokens as you wish. On the markets on city levels 2 to 8, you may purchase only one machine from. If you do not wish to activate the district or make a purchase, you may do neither and continue with your next turn. But the Steam token is still returned. So activating city districts. Each city district has symbols indicating what its activation effect is. These symbols are covered in detail in the rulebook, and there is a symbol reference section so that you can easily refer to. You don't have to worry to memorize everything. It's after one point it becomes pretty apparent. For example, this one will give me 3 either crystals or gears. Okay, this one will give me either 2 crystals or gears. This one will give me 1 victory point and investor. So there are different things that will be explained in the section of the rulebook with all these icons. Essentially, these are worker placement spots for you to gain different various things that will help you progress in the game respectively. Now, this is very important to understand the icons, but it will all make sense after you start making your first turns in the game. If you decide to purchase machine tiles, meaning again you can either activate the active city district or purchase from the active city's level market. So either the district or the market if you're on level 4. If you decide to purchase machine tiles, when visiting a market on levels 2 to 8, you may purchase 1 machine tile. Only the tiles that are machine side up can be purchased. So for example, you can only place the first available from the left onwards, so only this one. If it was this one, then this would be revealed only this one. Okay, so I can only purchase the revealed one on the left. I can decide to do it a banner instead of machine, but I will explain this later on. But let's focus now on the revealed as it is as a machine. So, before purchasing the tile, you must decide whether you wish to purchase it as a machine or as a banner. On the reverse side is a banner, and the color is shown on each of the tiles, so you know this is an orange banner because you can see it here. When you use it as a banner, you will see the orange banner at the back. Okay, so let's put it back. Once you decide if you want to buy it as a banner or as a machine, then you need to pay the cost. The bottom right corner of the machine side of the tile shows what kind of banner will be in case you want to buy it as a banner. You may only purchase a tile if you can pay the full cost at the time of the purchase, and you install the purchased tile of your airship either as a machine or as a banner, depending on your choice and what the cost you pay. The installation has different costs for banners. Essentially, if it is the first row, machine tiles only, the costs apply. So let's move that. Let's say I have this on to buy. So I check the first row and I have to pay all these costs on the first line if this line are costs that I have to pay if I'm placing it as a machine. The same goes for the bottom line, including the costs on the tile itself. Okay, so here I would gain 1 VP, gain 1 VP, lose another machine from my machine room, and gain 1 steam. In order to, sorry, not gain 1 machine, I would pay only I will gain or pay the costs on the first one and the last one. And if I use it as a banner, I would pay the costs on the second one and the third one. That's why you see the machine icon, the banner icon, and both the machine and the banner icon. So I check the row and I pay everything, for example, here, if I place it as a machine, plus everything here, meaning pay 2 gears. So if I need to place this as a machine, meaning here, place it in one of my areas, then I need to pay, I will gain 2 victory points, 1, 2, remove 1 machine from another machine from my airship, and then continuing, I will also pay the bottom line because it has a machine icon, which is nothing, nothing, and 2 gears. And then I will take it and place it as a machine. If I want to buy it as a banner, I forget about the first row because it's only for machine. I pay, I remove 1 of my Steam tokens and put it outside from my available ones from the Steam track to the side. This is what this token means. And then again, I pay 2 gears. And I take it and place it as a banner in my airship. Okay, this is the way it works. So you see all the row, because the more you reveal and you go to the level rank 2 and rank 3, the more expensive the tiles are, whether are for machine or for banners, but they give more rewards essentially. So keep in mind that if you have purchased the third rank tile, then you reveal the statue from the bottom of underneath it. Remember, all these have a statue, and you place it here. If it's the third one, you take 3 victory points and you win the game. And you trigger the end of the game. We proceed to counting victory points. Okay. As I said, if we receive take it for a banner and we have this icon, we remove one of those, put it aside, and we can choose whichever we want. Of course, we choose the one with the lower steam, I suppose, or whatever makes sense, and pay the bottom row, the 2 gears, and then take it as a banner. Keep in mind that some icons that you need to pay may have the, let me locate one, may have this icon which shows the spy boat, which is like a small mechanical fly or whatever. That means that when purchasing a tile with this symbol visible, your opponents may install spy boats on your engine. And after installing the machine in your engine room, each opponent may place 1 spy boat on one of your machines of their choice. A spy boat allows its owner to share the benefits of a machine 1 time, and then the spy boat returns to them. That's a very interesting, cool mechanic. So what about the installation? Whether we pick it as a machine or whether we paid it and we pick it as a banner, we need to install it. For machine installation, we choose any empty space on our engine room to place the new machine tile. If all spaces are filled, we must remove one other machine tile in order to make space. The removed tile may be a starting or basic tile, that's okay. And we return the basic machine tiles to the supply and discard the other removed tiles to the game box. If the cost of the new machine tile is required for you to remove an existing tile, you are not required to place the new tile in the same spot as the one removed. You can place it on another spot, you have flexibility. If you install a banner, you place the tile banner sideways, as I have shown you here. So you place it sideways, like that. At the bottom, at the end of your airship, and immediately score victory points depending on the banner type. There are 3 banner types. So let me show you the different banner types. They have 3 symbols. And I need a blue. Okay, you can have as many banners as you want at the back of your airship, and this actually is a good strategy to gain a victory point, a lot of victory points. So if you install the purple one, you score immediately 1 victory point for each banner on your airship, and keep in mind that the orange one scores also victory points, and it has 2 banners, so it consists of 2 banners. So this purple will give me, if I place it now as a third one, yeah, I will get 1 victory point, 2, 3, 4 victory points. So it's very, very productive in such a way. When I place, if I place this banner, I immediately score 1 victory point for each machine tile in my engine room, starting with the basic machines included. Tiles that are banners, they don't count. So this one would give me 1, 2, 3 victory points. And if I pick up a blue banner, shows the passenger, that means that for each passenger tile I have delivered and placed in my play area face down, I recover 1 victory point. So in this case I have only one victory point for this one. This is a cool way to gain extra victory points. Keep in mind that always you can see what is the back of a machine tile without even flipping it, because this shows it's a purple one. Okay, on the bottom right section. Okay, when I take one of the tiles, then I have to flip up the next one to be open, available for the players to see. Now, another thing that I can do is I can also purchase from level 1 booster tokens. So booster tokens are very important because they act in a very useful way to fill in slots. They cannot be moved, but they can be used to be jumped over on and give you the ability to gain easily, to build up more easily steam in your steam track. Booster tokens help you increase your pressure faster by allowing you to skip over those spaces when moving steam tokens over them on your pressure track. And when visiting the market on city level 1, you may purchase as many booster tokens as you can afford. There are 2 rows of booster tokens available, one which requires crystal costs and the other one which requires gears. You take the following steps for each of the booster tokens you wish to purchase. You pay all of the resources cost pictured on the row in front of the booster token. So 1, for the first one it will be 1 crystal or 1 gear. If it was this one that I want to buy, it will be 1 crystal and 1 victory point. So I pay all of those that they are in the space in front of the one that I'm going to buy, and the additional costs are revealed as soon as we move to the next token, which is more expensive. In the row, so I think the rulebook says in the row, so maybe we need to FAQ this to check it, and maybe you also pay 2 here. I'll check it in the FAQ of the game. So maybe you pay all the queue. It's not clearly described in the rulebook. So once you pay, you gain the victory points pictured in the row in front of the booster token you purchased. So if I purchase, for example, this one, the 4th one, it gives me 1 victory point, and then I purchase it. You see, you also gain victory points if you purchase more and more booster tokens. You place a booster token on your pressure track on a space with the same value as the booster token. So if I buy number 5, I will place it here on the number 5 slot. If the matching space is already occupied by Steam token, then the pressure of that Steam token, then I increase the pressure of that Steam token by 1 in order to make room for the booster token. So if I was like that and I had already one here, I would move it 1 and I will put it there. If the matching space is already occupied by another booster token or your base pressure token, the booster token is lost, returned to the box, but you gain the benefits. How do you use booster tokens? Booster tokens affect your pressure in the following ways. You jump over spaces containing booster tokens when moving forward. This will cause your Steam tokens to increase pressure much quicker. And booster tokens may never be moved when increasing pressure and may never be used as Steam tokens to pay for costs. You may, under certain circumstances, choose to remove a booster token from your pressure track in order to move the base token up one space if it's placed on 2 and you have the possibility to go your base pressure token from this spot to this one. You can remove the booster token, or to buy another booster token with the same number, for example, in order to score its victory points. Removed booster tokens are returned to the box. If you purchase the last of the booster tokens, the second one showing 2, then you install the statue, and if it's the third one, you gain 3 victory points and trigger the end of the game, respectively, like before. The last thing that we need to check is we need to check to store resources. When you gain resources, gears and crystals during the visit the city action, you immediately finish your action, and then at the end of your turn you need to store them on bin spaces. Each storage bin space can hold 1 resource, and you may choose to replace existing stored resources with newly gained ones if desired, and any resources that you do not have a store are lost, returned to the supply. You may not visit the next city district until all resources are either stored or discarded. So you don't do it at the end of your turn when you take the visit the action city, you have to do it once you gain it. So this is different from before, we need to be aware. This is different from the set flight plan action, where essentially when you do it at the end of your turn. For the visit the city, you need to do it as you gain them, you need to have space, so it's more strict there. The end of the turn. After completing your chosen action, your turn ends. At this point, any end of turn machine effects that they are described in the rulebook that give you effects at the end of your turn provide you their benefit, and then you also gain any passenger rewards for the passenger that you picked up, and you reveal the new passenger tile face up for the next player. Basically, you gain 1 or both of the passenger rewards depending on which passenger you transported. Some end of turn effects machine tiles in your engine room may also grant you additional rewards. And then you reveal the next passenger tile and you're ready to go. Keep in mind that the rewards are different. So more Steam or more victory points, or for example this, or are the same always? No, it's always the same, sorry, it's 3 and 1. I think they're all the same, it's just that the primary and secondary destination changes. In any case, once this is done, your end is performed, and what you need to do, you need to check if you have triggered the end of the game. Players will continue taking turns in order to meet their goals and gain more victory points, votes essentially. And then if one of the two following things have occurred, then we trigger the end of the game. If 3 statues have been erected, by emptying 3 markets for example, or if the passenger tile stack is empty. When this happens, all players that have not yet taken a turn this round complete their turns normally, up to the player with the starting player marker. This is the starting player marker, or this one, it comes in the game, so that every player has an equal number of turns. Then the player who triggers the end of the game by building the 3rd statue receives victory points. And what we do is we have one final round in player order, beginning with the start player. Each player will take one special final turn. On this final turn, players will take all 3 actions in order. They will first build pressure, they will then set a flight plan, and then they will visit the city. And when they're taking the set flight plan action on the final turn, players are allowed to reserve a city district that is already reserved by another player's team token. That's the only exception. You can go where someone else has been reserving as well. You may not, however, place another token in a district which you have already reserved one for your own tokens, not 2 yellow ones on the same district, for example. The game ends after every player has taken their final round, and the player with the most victory points wins the game on the votes victory points track. In case of a tie, the player with the most machines and banner tiles on their airship wins, and if there's still a tie, the tied player earliest is the player that in the player order that wins the game. So the game comes with a symbol reference which explains all these icons, so there is no need to memorize anything, and that's easy, and it becomes also pretty straightforward after a couple of turns. And also it has a solo mode where it has a very unique some solo tiles that they're shadowing some of your machines, that you cannot place machines there to make it a bit difficult for you. But also you start with 4 victory points. That's an interesting take on the solo. You start with 4 victory points, and what you do is you're losing victory points every turn, so you need to make sure you don't drop below 0. And what you need to do is you need to make a high score. Depending on the level of victory points you have selected, you are designated a title. So this is all you need to know for how to play Steamopolis, a very thinky game with a lot of things going on, but very interesting and very unique as well. So there you have it. This is all you need to know in order to play Steamopolis. There are a lot of things that this game does right and correctly. Among one of those is the real low downtime that it has. You just do one of the 3 options on your turn. You either build pressure in your steam track, or designate a flying destination by putting one of your steam tokens on a district area on a level of the city, or the third one is visit the city and execute this plan and visit it and do different things with your worker placement. So there are not many things to, even though there are a lot of things to strategize about and try to think how it makes you make a perfect plan, there are not a lot of things to prohibit you from playing fast and just doing the one thing that you need to do in your turn, and then that's the next player's turn. So that's one of the first benefits that I can recognize with this game, that it plays fast between players. It has a very, very nice flow on the gameplay. You never felt that you are left outside waiting for your turn to come again, which we see usually in some of the heavy games that you have a lot of options. Here you have a lot of options, but you can only do limited things on your turn, so you have to plan for the long run for your strategy. Another thing that the game does is offering different ways and different strategies to achieve victory. You can gain victory points from many different things, among which are the flying colors that you put the banners at the back of your, the flying colors, I always say, the flying banners of different colors that you put at the back of your airship, or upgrading your engine and manipulating your steam so that it produces you more and more victory points, essentially, depending on the tiles and the machines that you install on your airship, and essentially gaining different benefits. The game offers lots of things to try, and lots of things to prioritize according to your strategy and your take, and that's a really important asset. On top of that, the production quality is perfect. It's what I would like to say as a classic German school production, with a beautiful art, nice thick cardstock components, beautiful presence on the table. The board is huge. You've seen my video, I had to put it sideways in order to fit on 16:9 frame ratio, the ratio for the screen. It would be vertical on the playing area when you play with your friends, but still it's a huge board, and the boards of the player boards and the airships are really huge as well. Everything you can see clearly. The only thing that you may need to focus a bit is on the iconography, because actually the iconography is clear, it's what the icons mean, but I think after a couple of turns it will be very crystal clear on what each reward gives you. Essentially the play rate that the game comes with is very useful, because it has an explanation for each and every icon. It's a small play rate that you can use to refer to if something you don't remember what it does or what it gives as a reward. Overall, I think that this was a very nice and different experience. This is intended obviously to the people who like Euro games. I consider myself among those, and I really enjoyed this one, especially compared to so many games out there that they have either similar theme or similar mechanics. Here the mechanics are worker placement, set collection, and pick up and deliver. The pick up and deliver is only a small portion of it. I'm just mentioning it because some people are here pick up and deliver and start running. For me, it depends on the game. I've played some pick up and deliver games that are really great. Here it's just an extra bonus that you have the pick up and deliver, because mainly I would say it's efficient organizing of your steam track, efficient building up of your airship so that it gives you more and more in a more efficient way, and clever worker placement and execution of that, but together a passenger can bump tag along on your airship for a ride and give you additional points or steam build-up options. So there you have it. These are my first impressions from Steamopolis. I think it's a really robust game in this genre, and I think many people would appreciate playing it and enjoy it, especially with its unique and fresh mechanisms and how it connects them and builds them to the theme itself. So this is Steamopolis.